Moving day today. Already tired.
1 year ago, we locked the front door to our home for the last time to start a new life. Although we dreaded this day and we knew we'd miss this house, we were excited about our future. This was our first home bought together and built memories for the past 10 years. Now we were leaving it for a new life that we knew would bring challenges, doubt, and the unknown. Back then, I remember standing in the yard with the truck running, not wanting to leave and not being able to stay, thinking, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? We like our house, and we have a great life here. We'd spent the past year deep in renovations, replacing roof shingles, eaves troughs, new windows, landscaping the yard, tiling the bathroom, getting a new kitchen that we only got to enjoy for 4 weeks. Selling our house was never a consideration. But fate had other plans. So how did we get here? A fateful drive in the country exploring gravel cycling routes changed everything. Our desire to build a life in the country had always been there. We'd envisioned that someday, years into the future, when the time was right, we'd find the perfect piece of dirt to build a farm and live closer to the land. But life wasn't on our timeline, and timing is never just right. We never anticipated that a decision to leap would come sooner than we'd ever thought possible.
Hi, Beans. Oh, I actually think we're gonna leave you behind. Hey? Do you think we're leaving you behind?
A little piece of land with a for sale sign found us, and we were now faced with a hard decision, and we felt the weight of it. We either let it go and continue our life as it was, or make a call to the realtor that would ultimately end with us selling it all and purchasing the land. In the weeks leading up to the closing date on our house, we purchased an RV and moved it into an RV community, where we would live until basic utilities were in place on the farm to make it livable.
Do you want to go to the trailer? Treats? Huh? Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Hey, Tussie. We have a big day today, you know. Today's gonna be your first day at the trailer. I'm back from the trailer and didn't exactly start out very well. So I literally pull into the driveway of the campground, and as I'm making the turn, I think, crap, I left the keys at home. So texted a couple people trying to figure out if there's a way to break into it. And then Vance had the idea that I should look around the exterior of the trailer, because sometimes people put a spare key like in a magnetic lockbox. In this case, I was super lucky because the previous owners did that. So I was able to get in, which is good. Otherwise, it would have just been a really long day for the two cats in the car, driving back and forth between our house and the trailer. Got a little bit of cleaning done in it. I'm finding it's hard to condense everything we have in terms of stuff into such a small space, and I knew this, but you don't actually realize how limited your space is. We've never lived in a trailer. We've never owned a trailer this big. We have like a little Trillium 13-foot fiberglass trailer that we only use like on weekends. So it's just for quick trips. This trailer, obviously our situation is more permanent. So, and I'm just starting to think about like how can I condense more, and it's kind of hard trying to decide what to get rid of, what to keep. I think that's all I want to talk about for now.
What remained of our possessions were loaded into a U-Haul and moved into storage. Upon receiving possession of our land, the first priority was staking to get a sense of location and size of the buildings. The land is 15 acres, and we wanted to preserve as much pasture as possible. Therefore, the buildings would need to be located as close to the top corner of the property line as possible. This meant we would need to apply for a variance from the local municipality before any excavation could start. In the meantime, while we waited for the variance, an electric fence was installed to protect our hives from wildlife. We hadn't fenced the land yet, so the resident cattle are still able to graze, and we want to deter them from getting to the hives. So far, the fence is doing its job. Once the snow clears and the ground softens, we'll be moving the hives to a different location onto land that is more level. Our neighbor asked us one day, "When do you plant trees?" His response was 10 years ago. There's not a single tree on the land, so we got busy harvesting and planting. We were able to plant 22 aspen trees, and time will tell if they are viable. There'll be no shortage of work this spring, but we would like to get a couple more trees into the ground and keep adding in the years to come. With the variance granted, we were able to move ahead with the excavation and construction of the pad. We never knew the huge impact a roughed-in driveway could have in making this feel a little more like home. As construction of the pad wrapped up and winter fast approaching, we had a short window of time to get the garage frost wall in. We hired contractors for this project. This was beyond our skill set, and with winter setting in, we were essentially out of time. The dimensions of the garage are 32 feet by 60 feet, with cutouts for 4 9x9 garage doors. In our haste to move onto the land, we've decided to use water tanks as our water source for the time being until a well is drilled. These tanks each hold 1,250 gallons, with plans for an additional 2,500-gallon tank, supplying us with a total of 5,000 gallons of water that can be replenished as needed. This will initially meet our needs while we get established on the farm, but these tanks will ultimately serve as an emergency water source. We anticipate the installation of power poles in the spring. We'll tie into the existing lines along the road, and new poles will run along the northern property boundary. With so many immediate needs for power, we need to be on grid, but in time our intent is to shift to solar and wind energy. Architectural drawings are getting very close to completion, and I'll go into more detail about that on a future video. Winter has been uneventful, and it's hard to sit idle. Cabin fever is real, but life goes on. We've had issues with the RV fridge, vet bills, vehicle maintenance, spent a non-traditional Christmas together, and are slowly building friendships in the community. We make it a routine to check in on the property whenever we can, and on one trip noticed some strange marks on the foam foundation. As it turns out, rebar makes for the perfect scratching station for cattle, so we had to install electric fencing around the foundation to keep the cows away. Winter has actually passed by faster than we thought it would, and we and our 2 cats are eagerly anticipating the spring days ahead when we can finally move on to our land and get to building the life we've talked about for so long.